Welcome to Future Business School's Book Bites. Today, we're exploring Brené Brown's powerful book, Daring Greatly. In this book, Brown delves deep into the concepts of vulnerability, courage, and shame, and how embracing these emotions can help us live more wholehearted lives.
That's right. Daring greatly shows us that vulnerability is not a weakness, but rather the source of true strength. Let's dive into the key lessons and real-life applications that we can use to be more courageous in our everyday lives.
What does it mean to dare greatly? Brené Brown draws the title of her book from Theodore Roosevelt's famous speech, The Man in the Arena. To dare greatly means to show up and be seen, even when there are no guarantees. Imagine a public speaker who stands before a crowd sharing their personal story. The fear of judgment is real, but the courage to be vulnerable can inspire others.
Vulnerability is the path to courage. Brown's research highlights that vulnerability and courage go hand in hand. For example, in relationships, being vulnerable means opening up to someone even when there's a risk of rejection. The willingness to be vulnerable is an act of courage that leads to deeper connections.
The myth of vulnerability as weakness. A common myth is that vulnerability equals weakness. But Brown debunks this, showing that vulnerability is, in fact, a sign of strength. Think of a leader who admits to their team, "I don't have all the answers, but together we can figure it out." By being transparent, the leader builds trust and collaboration.
The power of wholehearted living. Brown introduces the concept of wholehearted living, which involves embracing vulnerability and imperfections. Imagine someone pursuing a passion project. Instead of seeking perfection, they take risks, knowing that failure is part of the process. This mindset helps them grow and experience life fully.
Shame versus guilt. One of the key distinctions Brown makes is between shame and guilt. Shame says, "I am bad," while guilt says, "I did something bad." For instance, if you make a mistake at work, guilt might encourage you to take responsibility, whereas shame might make you feel like you're unworthy. Understanding this difference can shift how we handle mistakes and setbacks.
Overcoming the fear of judgment. We often hold back from being vulnerable because of the fear of judgment. Brown encourages us to embrace the idea that we can't control others' opinions. For example, an artist may hesitate to share their work for fear of criticism. However, by daring to put their work out there, they give themselves the opportunity to grow and evolve.
The arena where we show up. In life, we all step into the arena, whether it's in our careers, relationships, or personal goals. For example, a parent navigating a challenging conversation with their child is stepping into the arena. The willingness to engage, even when it's uncomfortable, is what daring greatly looks like in real life.
Letting go of perfectionism. Brown emphasizes the need to let go of perfectionism in order to live authentically. Picture a student who's so focused on getting perfect grades that they avoid taking risks. By releasing the need to be perfect, they open themselves up to learning and growth, even through mistakes.
The role of empathy. Empathy is key to combating shame. Brown suggests that sharing our experiences with empathetic people can reduce feelings of shame. Imagine you've had a tough day at work. Instead of keeping it inside, you share your frustration with a close friend who listens without judgment. This act of empathy lightens the emotional load and helps you move forward.
The importance of boundaries. While vulnerability is important, so are boundaries. Brown reminds us that being vulnerable doesn't mean oversharing or letting others take advantage of us. For example, in a professional setting, it's crucial to communicate boundaries with respect, such as saying, "I'm unable to take on this extra task right now," rather than overextending yourself.
The vulnerability of leadership. Leaders who embrace vulnerability inspire innovation and trust. Think of a business leader facing a major industry shift. Instead of pretending they have everything figured out, They ask for input from their team and admit to uncertainties. This kind of leadership fosters collaboration and creativity.
12. Parenting and vulnerability. Brown applies the concept of vulnerability to parenting as well. Parents often feel the pressure to be perfect, but modeling vulnerability shows children how to handle difficult emotions. For instance, when a parent admits to their child, "I'm sorry, I made a mistake," it teaches the child the value of accountability and empathy.
13. The critics in our lives. In Daring Greatly, Brown reminds us to ignore the critics who aren't in the arena with us. Picture someone starting a small business and the naysayers around them doubt their success. Instead of focusing on those voices, Brown suggests prioritizing feedback from those who are also taking risks and engaging fully in their lives.
14. Embracing failure as learning. Failure is part of daring greatly. Brown emphasizes that when we fail, we learn. Consider a person trying to write a book. They may face rejection from publishers, but instead of giving up, they view the experience as a stepping stone to improving their writing.
15. Conclusion. In conclusion, Daring Greatly teaches us that vulnerability is the key to courage, connection, and creativity. By showing up and being seen, even when it's uncomfortable, we open ourselves up to a more meaningful life.
As Brené Brown wisely says, vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey through Future Business School's Book Bites. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Continue learning, keep pushing boundaries, and stay tuned for more content designed to help you succeed.